Hey everyone, welcome to this week's live and Path to Prosperity webinar. We'll get started here in just a second. Hopefully you can see on my screen some information from Deborah Perkins. We're going to look at that tonight. It's a property she's looking at, trying to determine value. But before we do that, we've got some other content to go over. Before I do that, let me just double check on everyone here. Actually, let me just start by sending you my initial message. Can you see my screen and hear my voice? So if you could let me know, if each of you could respond to me on that, that would be great. I'm going to go ahead and check the attendee list while we're waiting on responses. So let's see. Hi, Jeanette. How you doing? Good to see you. Let me go back to the beginning. Angelo, Daryl. What's up, Daryl? Floyd, how you doing, Floyd? Genevieve, good to see you, Genevieve. Gift, hope you're doing well, Gift. Good to see you guys. Helene, Hope, John, Jeanette, we said, Martin, Mio. Hey, Mio. Did you ever get a hold of Joe Sunick, the contractor that I was suggesting? I haven't seen him for a couple of years, but he did a lot of work for me over the years. Stephen Johnson, good to see you, Stephen. So, and Shirley, how you doing, Shirley? So I'm going to close the attendee list real quick. That was just a first batch of it. There's a lot more. If I didn't call your name, don't worry. It doesn't mean I don't love you. I just realized we've got a lot of people logging in here. So let me go here. Okay, everybody's saying they can see my screen and hear me. Okay, that's good news. Floyd says no response from Sid. Let me Floyd, let me try him again. I'm going to be on the road tomorrow, roughly 2 to 7. I'll try him after 6. I'll try him after dinner tomorrow and see if we can. Maybe, I haven't heard from him either. Maybe something's happened to him. I'm not sure. I'll see what I can find out, Floyd. So, in any case, welcome aboard, everybody. We got a pretty full slate tonight. We're going to try to get this done on time. The first thing I want to show you is we've been going over. We went over the school report the other week, and because a lot of people kept asking about that, and we got a lot of questions on it. Please go over that again and how we build it, how and why we use it. And out of that, we got some more questions on the use of our databases, okay? And this is really, really important. Whether you're an investor or an agent or both, and I actually think obviously you should be both, you should build and have and maintain a really good contact management system. Okay, the reason is guys, that's your gold mine. That's your business right there. I mean, your database, your over time, if you do it correctly, will provide you a lot of revenue. Okay, whether you're investing or being an agent or both. Now, real quick, sorry, before we get into all that, just brief housekeeping, guys. I know we do this every week, but we have to because every week we have new folks joining us. So welcome to all you guys who are new to the programs. There's Investor Agent, which was most of you are in. Some of you are in Flipping for Profits. Some of you are in rental profits without the pain. Some of you are in turning rental problems into real estate profits, which is the first one is how to buy rentals. The second one is how to manage them for profit correctly. Some of you are in wholesaling so everybody wins. Separate and unique subjects. Some of you are in multiple programs. Regardless, welcome aboard. If you are new, you'll notice that by default you are in mute mode, and that's by design because we can't have 100 or more people vocally live at the same time. I can, and from time to time, I do unmute you to bring you on a certain specific discussion or have a special guest. For the most part, though, you just use your question bar to type in questions, and I'll get back to those questions as we go through the content. Okay, always, and also really important, guys, always make sure you check the email the next day from Beverly. It does include the recording here of the webinar, but also she gives you updates to the schedule, any particular updates to the systems or data, content, the learning content on the systems, anything meaningful and relevant. So you definitely want to always check the email and get all the information there. Okay, that would help a lot. So also, of course, you get the recording. I said that too. In any case, that's pretty much it. We've seen a lot of you actually sign up for Chicago. That's great because I look forward to seeing a lot of it. It's funny because Chicago is centrally located. in the north central part of the U.S. and easy access to a lot of our Canadian folks too. So I look forward to seeing you there. It is the last one for the year, so if you haven't been to the prior 5, definitely go. We were intended to do 2 this year, but it's turned into 6. So kind of an interesting thing, you know how things develop. So it is a lot of fun, a lot of learning. Chicago is very inexpensive to fly to from most parts of the U.S. and Canada, just because of where it's located geographically. Also, the Marriott's always do us a real good job on the room rates. I mean, the room's only like 118 a night. And of course, my investor services feed you lunch on Friday and Saturday. So it's Friday, November 2nd, Saturday, November 3rd, and half a day on Sunday, November 4th, up until about 1 p.m. So everybody can fly back and get home in time Sunday night and be ready for Monday morning. You're ready to learn use what you learn and make more money, right? Learn and earn. So in any case, let's do this. Let me check for questions real quick before we get into the content. Lee, let's see here. That was Floyd. That was Floyd. Okay. Miho is asking, okay, I want to find someone, the JV, since we're in California and we can work with Joe Sudik. Is Joe, Joe's not an investor, Miho? I don't think he was when I worked with him, but he knows all about the investor business. I mean, man, we used him for big remodeling jobs. We used him for property management before I did my merger, and just rock solid. I mean, great with people, reasonably priced, and really good top-notch work. You know, and just all-around good guy. I mean, we didn't have to worry about any problems, no issues with him. Just a pretty good all-around guy. So there are investors out there. The thing is that's kind of a small project. You know, usually people like to partner with bigger projects, so that's, you know, I'll tell you what I'll do is, since we're live on the webinar here, I'll put this out there. If any of you are interested in a project in Pittsburgh, please contact Miho. Miho, is it okay if Beverly puts your contact information in the email tomorrow? So if we can do that, Miho, anybody who has an interest all over the U.S. and Canada would certainly give you a call, and you can give them the parameters. It's basically, it's a single family home, guys. Low dollars getting in, lots of upside, lots of potential. I did look at it. Miho sent it to me. So if you're interested in getting in on a project with some people who are just like us, feet on the ground in Pittsburgh, just let Miho know. We'll put her contact information in the email tomorrow if she allows us to do that. Also, Miho, on the community site, you go to myinvestorservices.com. And on that community site, you can put the property out there too. Remember, you can build that almost like building your own listing, and it's going to go out to all 2,000 of us all over U.S. and Canada. That'd probably be a pretty good idea too. So, in any case, I think that was the last of the questions so far. Thanks, Miho. So, Miho, just let us know. Type in a response or say okay to use my information, or put my contact information in the email, and it'll go out to quite a few people actually. Or just email Beverly. Let her know that either me or Beverly. Okay. Okay, so let's do this, guys. Subject for tonight, probably one of the most important things you could ever get involved in, which is creating, building, maintaining, cleaning, and segmenting, basically analyzing and segmenting your contact management system. I know you've heard people say this to you before, but let me tell you, I'm living proof. This is one of the most important things you can engage in, and the earlier you start, the better. So let's just talk about some tools out there. Most of you have your realtor's license, you're with a brokerage company, and they have usually some type of a free contact management system that they make available to you. Well, free in that you pay dues every month to your broker. And as a result of that, you get a contact management system that they develop and promote to you and use. Years ago, I would use my broker's contact management system because it was already there and didn't have to create anything. However, I would tell you even before that, before I had my license, I actually created my own just using a spreadsheet. I mean, literally, here, I'll show you. Oop, let's see if I can get this more in view here. Okay, good. So your rows, right, are the people. 1, 2, 3, 4, et cetera, right? It's funny because I don't know if you can see me and the and the chart or just the chart. It's more important that you see the chart, right? So the rows are your people, your contacts, your prospects. The columns are all the different fields, name, address, phone number, email, address, right? Um, let me move this forward. Email address, there we go. And other really important information. So you can create your own fields. This is what's really neat about having your own version. Your own, like Excel spreadsheet, for example, is you can put in here owner/occupant, yes or no. You can put in here investor, yes or no, right? And any column you can think of that's going to be really important, like are they active or passive right now? Are they on this? Are they on the sidelines? Or are they actively engaged in buying or selling? The thing is a lot of systems are sophisticated enough that you can actually create new fields, and you're definitely going to want to do that so you can really identify and understand and use the information so you know how to market to those people, which we'll get into here in a minute. Okay, now if you want to know about different products to use, I'm not here to promote different products. However, I can tell you two that I've used outside of traditional brokerage are number one is a top producer. I used that for years. And I mean, it has all the great marketing campaigns already built in. It's user friendly. I mean, it's a little sophisticated, but it's not too complex. It also allows you to do what's called sort merging. So in other words, it goes through your database. When you send an email out, it grabs the individual people's names. You can select first name or last name. So your email goes out looking like it's personally sent from you directly to that person, which technically it is. You're just sending it to a lot of people, okay? So in any case, I also do use Infusionsoft, that's like the Cadillac. Infusionsoft is what businesses use, okay? Not just real estate people, real estate agents and brokers, things like that, but businesses of all different shapes and sizes all over the world. It's very expensive compared to most other systems, but it's also very robust. It's not the kind of thing you want to get into, guys, unless you really have, like me, multiple businesses, lots of properties. I mean, I can tell you, when we came on to Infusionsoft, I forget how many years ago, guys, we had 72,000 people in our database, 72,000. That's over a period of a lot of years, right? 72,000 is the big group. That's all the people. Either they've contacted me via Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter. They've purchased a book. They've read a special report. Whatever it is, they've given us contact information for something. And out of that group, there's a greater than 14,000 that are direct mets. I've actually met them. They've met me. We know who each other are. That's a lot. That's over 14,000. And then within that group, I have segments. People that I've trained, people I've invested with, things like that. People I've bought properties from. They're not as an agent, but as an investor. That's all on there. Okay, so. Regardless, the main thing is to have one. So if you don't want to spend money on a system, then create your own Excel spreadsheet, okay? You can make it your own. So once you've done that, I'm going to give you a couple of tips here, just basic stuff, and I'm going to show you some more advanced stuff, okay? So first things first is putting people on your database. Who do you put on there? Well, if you're just new starting out, you want to put everybody on there that you know. Don't leave any stone unturned, and don't ever exclude anybody because you don't think that they would want to work with you, or they're your mama, your dad, and whatever. Don't ever do that. I used to do that, and I'm telling you, what happens is there's a progression, like a almost like a stone rolling downhill. Okay, if you eliminate one person way up here, it's going to have a negative impact down the line. You're cutting off that line, so to speak. So what I'm getting at is put everybody on your database. You don't have to market to them. Just put them on your database. Identify them and put them on your database. My first teacher, John Zisner, this was years back, he said that every one of you should have between 200 and 300 people that you know, right? That's on average. And at the time I was coming out of banking, I was in IT. I did mergers and acquisitions. We analyzed other banks' systems, and we wrote operating systems to do mergers and things like that. And so if you might imagine, they didn't let us out much, and I didn't know a lot of people. In fact, the first time I went through the exercise, I named 19 people. I still have that today. 19 people. Okay. Now, by the end of the month, I had identified 200 people. But in the beginning, I thought, well, that's who I know. And the point is when you start naming these folks, it has kind of a trickle down effect. In other words, you naming one person might trigger your recall function to identify another person. So a lot of people struggle with this. They say, well, my memory's bad. I don't know. Memory is actually two functions. One is the acquiring and retaining of information, right? The other one is recalling the information. When people say my memory's bad, they actually referring to the recall function. Okay, the recall function up here. The reality is, though, on the memory side, the gathering and retaining information, that's always there. You've got stored in your memory banks every experience in your life, every person you met, every smell you smelled, every sight you saw, everything, every microsecond is stored. Okay, just know that. It's the recall function that people struggle with sometimes. So what you do to improve recall is you do exercises like this. So what I recommend is this. Go through the alphabet, A through Z. If you need to pick a letter a day, do a letter a day for the next 26 days, for the next month, for example, okay? If you're really struggling, go find a phone book. Go to your public library and find a public yellow pages, or just do it online. Just go on Google, yellow pages and white pages, definitely white pages in your area. And each day go through the alphabet, one letter at a time. And I'm not saying you're going to take everybody from the phone book. That's not what I'm saying. What I am suggesting is this, is as you go through the people in the phone book, when you see their names, it'll trigger your recall function. It'll trigger your recall function. You'll see like Abbott. You'll think, gee, actually I know somebody named Abbott, John Abbott. He's a whatever, an elevator inspector, just whatever. The point is, it's a great exercise to help you recall all the people that you actually do know. I know you may think it sounds corny, but I tell you what, guys, it freaking works, okay? So do that. Go through and identify everybody, gather as much information as you can. In fact, if you're in the phone book, you might look them up and see if you can find their phone number and address in there, okay? In any case, do that. That's part one. Part two is this, and this is the habit forming part. This is what I really want to instill in your brains here big time tonight. I developed this habit years ago, going back, 30 years. Here, I'll just show you. You guys have all seen me carry this thing around here, right? My Franklin Daily Planner. Started in 1989, so next year is coming up on 30 years. I've been doing this for 30 years, right, religiously. What I'm getting at is this, is I keep this with me at all times. Every one of you's met me, you've seen me with this, whether I'm in a classroom, 3-day event, whatever the case is, okay? I've always got this with me. Speaking of 3-day events, by the way, again, November 2nd, 3rd, 4th, I don't think I gave you it's the Naperville Marriott. Just look for the emails from Beverly. Sorry, I just triggered a recall function there, right? Okay, so back to this. What I do is I keep this with me. I don't carry it in the church. I don't carry it into the grocery store. What I do is keep it in my car with me, wherever I am. Now, let's say I'm in the grocery store. The reason this is important is every one of us, every day, we go to either the grocery store, the gas station, the clothing store, the mall, we go to school, we go to church, we go to work. We take our children to after school activities. We meet other parents. We go to our own activities. Maybe we're like to hike or bike, whatever. We belong to a club. Every single day, with the exception of days that you're staying home, for example, because it's 3 feet of snow outside and you're going to watch a movie where you're sick, unfortunately. Every other day, we're out there in the world. We're coming across people we know, people we don't know. What I'm wanting to have you to do is this. If you're really not sure about your memory recall function, keep a piece of paper with you, all right? When you go into the store, the library, or keep a piece of paper with you, and also keep a pen or a pencil. And as you meet people in the store, don't do it right there in front of them, but as soon as you get to the next place, the milk section, whatever, jot their name down. Jot their name down. All right, if you really want to take a chance here, just wait to get out to your car. When you get back out to your car, write the name down then. All you want to do is jot it down. Just jot it right in your planner, whatever it is you're using, okay? In any case, the point is this. You're going to record every single person you met that day. I mean, from A to Z. Don't ever take a chance, and whatever you do, don't do this. Don't say, I'll do it when I get home. I promise you, You'll forget half the people you've run across. And more importantly, I guarantee you when you get home, you're going to have other things take up your attention, like making dinner, helping the kids with schoolwork, talking to your parents on the phone, whatever the case is, it's going to chew up your time and you won't be thinking about this stuff. So do it on the spot. Okay, now, when you get home at night, and this only takes 5 minutes, seriously, go into your computer, log into your contact management system, pull up your list, whether you're using this or, whatever this, and look and see if they're on there. I'm willing to bet you a lot of times they're not. And now you've got somebody else to enter. Okay, now go back to the store in the example. Let's say you meet somebody new for the first time. You're talking to a friend or a neighbor, and somebody walks up that they knew and you didn't know them and introduce you, and hey, what do you do? Oh, what do you do? This is your chance to make an impression and say, hi, I'm Gary Wilson. I'm a professional broker, real estate broker, and I specialize working with investors. Boom. I guarantee you some of those people are saying, no kidding. I've thought about that, or what do you suggest? What advice do you have? And I'll say, you know what, interesting you could say that. I've got a book I can give you. I've got a special report I can give you. Even if it's not your book, give them one of my books, right? You guys know you can get them for free, right? By going on to myinvestmentservices.com. Just grab one, email it to them, whatever. In order to do that, you need what? Yep, you need their contact information. So if they're brand new, don't just walk away with their name, walk away with their name, email, phone number, whatever. I'd suggest getting at least email, phone number, and at bare minimum, get at least email. Okay, when you go home at night, back to being home at night, see if they're on there. If they're not, enter them onto your database, okay? Now at this point, what you should do is you could categorize them. Like remember up here, I would categorize them as an owner occupant or an investor. Better yet, what I do is I rank them in the investor column from 1 to 10, 1 being least likely to want to invest, 10 being most likely to want to invest. Okay, let's just do that. Let's just say this person's a 1. Let me use my marker for a second. This person's a 1, this person's a 3, this person's a 9, this person's an 8. You get the picture, rank them, okay? Now, there's a reason why we do this, which I'll get to in a minute. But before I do, one more thing. If you already have a database and you haven't done this kind of thing before, I'm going to give you another exercise. This is if you already have a database, guys. Starting tomorrow, go through the letters of the alphabet, 1 letter per day for 26 days. And go through and ask this question to all of your contacts. Ask, how do I know this person? How did I meet them? When did I meet them? What do I remember about them? What do I recall about them? Whatever. And you might remember, you just met, Jane Bartholomew, and I did a listing appointment with her 5 years ago. And by gosh, I remember she had a Rich Dad Poor Dad book on her coffee table. Now let me ask you guys, do you think someone with a Rich Dad Poor Dad book on their coffee table is likely to be interested in investing? Well, the answer is probably yes. I'd rank them like a 9 or a 10, 8, 9, or 10. Okay, the people you say, no way and heck, they'll ever be interested in investing, you make them a 1 or a 2 or a 3. Okay, great exercise to go through. If you do this when you enter them into your database, any new client, then you've got a clean database, all right? So these are some ideas of how you build and maintain your database. Every year you should go through, by the way, and go through a cleaning exercise and just ask, have they ever responded to you on anything you sent them? Number 1. When was the last time you had any contact with them? Number 2. But if it's been 10 years and they're just not responding to anything, Christmas cards, what have you, maybe go ahead and put them in sleeper mode or just delete them from your database. Keep your database clean. I will tell you, if you have 1,000 people that you have direct contact with, you're doing really good, okay? Now, if you're like me, I've been doing it for close to 33 years. I've got a lot more than that. But I can tell you, most everybody I've ever trained or worked with, when they get to 1,000, they're doing a lot of business, okay? A clean database with 1,000, right? Not just 1,000 people that you know anything about, right? So in any case, here's why we categorize them. When it comes to marketing, promotional material, you don't want to send the same message to everybody. And you certainly don't want to keep fishing that pond over and over again so that the fish go cold on you. They stop taking your bait, right? You don't ever want to do that. So we have them categorized. We can market to the different groups based on the category. So the 1s and 2s and 3s, which are typically your owner occupants, we would give them to traditional marketing, like, hey, you know anybody looking to buy or sell? Please let me know. I'll take care of them just like I took care of you, and I'll give you a free dinner certificate at the local restaurant, whatever that is, traditional stuff. With investors, the 8s, 9s, and 10s, we would use specific marketing. But here's where I get more detailed. On my investors, I also categorize them whether they flipped, bought rentals, or wholesaled, or they need or have property management. Okay, and I would send them different campaigns based on their categorization. Excuse me, making up new words here. So what I mean is somebody who I know has done flipping and have not done any rentals, I would only send them marketing that has to do with flipping. We call this targeted marketing, which is highly effective. It's the most highly effective marketing you can do. Niche level targeted marketing. Okay. And the benefit is you're no longer fishing your database every single week with the same message that everybody's getting, trying to be all things to all people. You're doing targeting marketing to specific groups. Does this make sense, guys? Okay, I've seen some comments. Good. So in any case, I wanted to go over that tonight as a way to help you get more control over your contact management system. And then also later on, when you're doing marketing, like using the school report, you'll know if you've got people in those areas that you can communicate with. Okay, you've got their addresses. And on school report, you can go to the next thing, which is Melissa data, which is by zip code. So you see the connection here? Lots of possibilities. And then when you do marketing, actual promotional campaigns, we call advertising, you can target market and do niche level marketing and gain what we call alignment. So let me just do this. Some of you probably seen me draw this triangle before. We call this the marketing triangle, okay? 3 M's. This M is your market, the people you're serving, right? This M is your media, so, letters, Facebook campaigns, or forms of media. And then this M is the messaging. This is what you're saying in the media. This is the messaging that you're telling your market, your people, through the media, okay? Now, what I'm getting at here is when you do your database like this, right, you segment them, you can do targeted marketing so that your language patterns are in alignment with the media and the market. So you gain alignment between market, media, and message. You're saying the right things to the right people using the right media. And as a result of that, you get much higher response rates, much higher conversion rates, right? Which means you make more money, working smarter, not harder, okay? You guys like that? In any case, let me do this. Let me check for questions. I see them pouring in here, and then we'll get on to Deborah Perkins' property. Let's see. It was Miho's question. Oh, hang on one second. This is Miho. All right. So Miho, let me go back to your question. We can work with Joe. Okay. All right. Thank you. I don't know the area, so we need someone in the area. I know it is such a small project. Thank you for telling everyone. You're welcome, Miho. Okay, this is Angel. Hey, Angel. I'm not seeing any charts now. So I'm not sure. I mean, on my screen, it shows I'm in the screen with the chart. Let me see if anybody else can see it. What's the name of in the database? Oh, Genevieve. So Genevieve, the one you'd most be more likely interested in, Genevieve, is top producer, TOP, top producer. Just knowing you, like I know you, I think that will be a good fit for you. You can use your broker's free one. Your KW, you're gonna have E-Edge, okay? Start with that. Start with the free one. Just when you get in tomorrow, call your office manager or go and visit them. Ask them what do they have available to you. But if you want to go outside, top producer is probably one of the top ones if you're just really mainly in brokerage, okay? Floyd's saying client look. Floyd, I think is that one of the tools you're suggesting? Client look. Yeah, I haven't used that, but I've heard of it. If that's what you're referring to. Let's see, Angel, I can hear you, but I can only see a screenshot of your email. Oh, yeah. So there's no screenshot, Angel. What you're singing, the view of me, I can hear you, but I can only see. Yeah, you should be. My camera's live. You should be able to see my webcam. Let me just double check here because it says it's live and active. Yes, it is being shared. let me just go back and real quick and double check everyone else. Let's see, who's next here? Daryl. Hey, Gary, I see the chart. Okay, so Angel, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm just using basically an easel with a whiteboard right behind me. So Angel, can you see me? Can you see me personally? I mean, maybe something on your computer, on your settings, your GoToWebinar settings. Other people are saying they can see it. Yeah, Patricia, Floyd. So Floyd says, COMIRE CRM, we're just looking for your opinion. Oh, yeah, I have not used client look. I have not used that one, Floyd. Okay. Cedric, good on all fronts. Okay, Stephen. Well, let's see, Daryl, Gary, how can I get around providing proof of funds to agents who ask for that dealing with commercial multifamily? What have you heard about? Wait a second, let me take care of Daryl's first. Agents who are dealing with commercial, all right, so Daryl's asking, how can I get around providing proof of funds to agents who ask for that dealing with commercial multifamily? Well, Daryl, you really can't get around that. It's part of your screening process. You should be interviewing your clients. I mean, when you interview them, essentially they're prospects. And once you've had them sign a document with you to work with you, then they're, of course, clients. As part of the interview process, we always screen them for, timing, motivation, readiness, willingness, and ability. Okay, so ability is their ability to actually buy a property. So we're looking for a combination of cash and credit. So I always ask them, what do they have available in savings? They understand what I mean by that. That I'm not using the word cash to just both. It's a less intrusive way to find out what they got. I also ask what their credit score is because I know that people who provide their credit score generally know what's going on inside their finances. If they know their credit score, they also know what their basically credit standing is. Okay, I also asked if you have an available line of credit. Here's why I asked that question. If someone has an available line of credit, number one, I know they at least qualified to get the line of credit. And number two is if it's available, that means they disciplined. They haven't used and exhausted all the available funds on the line of credit. Now that tells me I got someone who's disciplined, typically motivated, they've got credit, and they probably got some cash somewhere, but bottom line is they also probably have a pretty good credit score, or they wouldn't have got the line of credit. So Daryl, that's one of my favorite questions. So proof of funds doesn't just have to be a letter from a bank. It could be simply their monthly line of credit statement that shows funds available. Block out everything else. Just provide a line that says available 126,000. There's your proof of funds right there. Proof of funds could also be a statement from a savings account or a CD or a mutual fund, whatever the case is. And of course, it could be a letter of credit from a bank. In other words, proof of funds, most people think of as a letter from a bank saying this person has been pre-approved and qualified for a loan up to whatever. Letter of credit is something different, but serves the same purpose. Letter of credit is from a lending institution saying, I've worked with Gary Wilson for the last 30 years. He is definitely creditworthy. He's borrowed X number of millions of dollars from us over the years, okay? Whatever. That's a great way to deal with commercial people. If they know that they get a letter of credit from a lending institution on your client, that's pretty good. A good question, Daryl, by the way. Let's see, Gabriella, what have you heard about Remine, a bright MLS product? This is it Gabriella? Yeah, Gabriella. We like Remine. Remine is a tool that's hooked in with. I think it's now hooked in with MRIS, Trend, and they give you a lot of valuable data on people and property. So it's for everybody who's listening. It's REMINE, Remine. Here, I'll type it in here. Hang on 1 second. So look in your box for me. So REMINE. That's the name of the tool. Okay. Let me reduce that and go back to your questions. Hopefully it'll take me back to where I was. Okay, so Genevieve, see you fine with whiteboard and see your Gmail account. Only want the P&L statement and rent rolls. So Daryl's asking, okay, I only want the P&L and rent rolls. So Daryl, Daryl, when you're looking at a commercial property, that's what you look for in due diligence. So initially, let's say you write a letter of intent. What you want is three things initially: uh, a rent roll, P&L for 3 years, profit and loss. That's from their own books, that owners or that investor's books, not what they're telling the IRS. That's what they have in their own internal accounting system, bookkeeping system. So again, rent rolls, P&L 3 years. Rent rolls also for 3 years, by the way. And then also the third thing is what they are sending the IRS. You want to see what we call Schedule E. Most investors use Schedule E when they're filing their taxes. Okay, we want to see all three of those for 3 years. Now, let's say you move along with your potential transaction here, and you make an official offer and they accept it. You then want to get much more information. I mean, we want to see any contracts they have on the properties for lawn care, snow removal, pest control, laundry, security, all of the contracts. The reason is these contracts could have language in there that says something like this service contract survives the transfer of ownership, something like that, which means you, the buyer, if that's an active contract that's still under the current term, you, the buyer, inherit that contract with the property. Now, I know there's contracts I don't want to inherit. So what I do is when I see something I don't like, then I respond back. Remember, this is all part of due diligence. You give yourself the right to do due diligence on the property. So you respond back, you say, I'm not in agreement with taking this contract on. You, therefore, the seller, need to resolve this prior to settlement. In other words, do a buyout, buy out the contract. Or maybe the people, the laundry company will be like, it's okay, we don't, no harm, no foul, just don't worry about it. We'll end the contract when you sell the property. Whatever it is, you put the onus of that burden onto the seller. Okay, so that's why we ask for all those contracts. You also want at this point ask for any inspections on HVAC, roofing, sewer lines, whatever the case is. You can also see if they have what's called an environmental study. There's different phases. If they've got phase 2, they definitely will have phase 1, because you never ask for phase 2 unless they had phase 1. So just ask for any environmental reports they got when they purchased the property. Also ask for all of the current and past leases going back 3 years. You want all the leases, because those leases also get assigned to you, the buyer, at the closing table. And you want to make sure you read the leases so you know what you're taking on. Let's say here's a good example. Let's say the current owner let somebody move in mid-month, and what they did is they said, we're going to collect 1.5 months rent plus last month's rent, okay, and the security deposit. And therefore that tenant doesn't have to pay at the end of their term, the 12th month, they've only got to pay a half month's rent. Well, if you don't see that and you don't account for it in the accounting, and you don't get that transferred to you, those funds transferred to you at the closing table, once you sign that settlement sheet and funds have been delivered and transferred, you're not going to be able to go back 12 months later and say, hey, Mr. Owner, I didn't see this before, you owe me a half month's rent. They're not going to do it. Probably be long gone. And your tenant's only going to be obligated to pay a half month's rent. So that's why we look for all this information. All those little nuances and little, call them coinky-dinks, tend to pop up when we're not paying attention to all the details. So in any case, a good question, Darrell. That probably opened up a big can of worms here. Let's see what other questions we got. Usually that type of dialogue gets more questions. Let's see. Okay, this is Jeanette. Hi, Jeanette. Hi, this question is off topic. I received the cash buyers list, but it is not formatted the way I expected, so I'm not sure what I'm looking at. Can you break down the columns for me to use, please? Yeah, I don't have one in front of me. Unfortunately, Jeanette, I'm literally on a brand new computer. My one I've been using is in Best Buy, getting the screen replaced. And unfortunately, I had examples of the cash report on the cash buyers report. But from what I remember, Jeanette, you're going to see rows, like an Excel spreadsheet with a bunch of rows of names and addresses. what you're looking for is the same name over and over again associated with multiple properties. That means that person bought multiple properties. And if you see the same address in one of the columns over and over again, that's that person's mailing address. That's the address you want to use to mail them some marketing pieces. All the other addresses are all the individual properties they bought. So when you see the name and the address the same, the same in multiple rows, that's that buyer's address and buyer's name. And any other column where the address is changed, those are the properties that they bought. I like working with cash buyers who are on there multiple times. That means they bought multiple properties with cash. If I see someone on the report that's just one line, one entry, that could be an owner occupant that just paid cash for their own home. You see what I'm saying? So that's really how you use the report. I love that cash buyers report, by the way. Guys, for those of you who haven't used it, that'll save you just imagine working with cash buyers, right? That's probably enough said on that one. Okay, Nika, hi Nika, how are you? Let's see, I can see the, let's see. Oh, sorry, let me get down to the next question. This is Nika's question again, sorry. I can see the diagram, Daryl. It's for me, I am the buyer. So Daryl, if you have a lender that you already work with, I would go to them and ask for letter of credit, or you can ask them to pre-approve you or pre-qualify you. But letter of credit's actually pretty good. That's what I would suggest here, Daryl. Just get a letter of credit, okay? And then you can also, if you have, you know, an existing line of credit that has some availability on it, you can show them that. Just don't give them the account number and all that. Just show them the line that says, show them the line that says the amount you have available, okay? So let's say the line is for $200,000 and you've already used 100,000 of the line. That means you've got 100,000 left on that line of credit. That's what they want to see, okay? Or if you have cash anywhere, that kind of thing. But you want to show that, because I mean, most investors and their agents are not going to want to go any further unless you can demonstrate that you can actually, you know, bring the horses to the race, so to speak. All right. So, okay, let's do this, guys. We are actually caught up in our questions. So what I want you to do now is reduce the picture of me, the video with me showing in there in my flip chart back here, and focus on the email from Deborah. So let's look at Deborah's property. Oops, okay, here we go. So let's look at this. So we believe the property, right, here we go. Comps in the area, like the one that's sold next door, going from 355 to 395. So we got that information. Acquisition and renovation cost about 71%, a little higher than typically. In other words, we want to ARV. We want to make an offer, a maximum allowable offer on a property that's generally 70% of the ARV, which is after repair value. Okay. Now, this is true when we do flips, when we're flipping a property, and you can flip rentals just like you can flip single-family homes. Okay. Let me turn my screen here. Sorry. So Deborah, if you're on, I know we talked today, but I'm not sure. It seems to me like your objective is to buy and hold. So that margin, the 30% margin, typically if you're going to sell a property, you're going to flip it. You want 20% to be for profit, 10% to be for overhead. Okay. If you're buying a rental property, determine what the value is based on the income approach to valuation. Then you back off deferred maintenance, the cost to do the, here it is right here, $80,000. So you'd back off $80,000 from your 395, for example. All right, and that will give you your MAO. So we calculate MAO differently on rentals that we buy and hold than we do on properties we're flipping. All right, so in any case, back to this. She's predicting ARV's 350, so we subtract 80 grand from that. You get an MAO of 270,000 bucks. Okay, in this example, asking price is 170. So if that's the case, I'd say that's well below your MAO, and you're probably in pretty good shape. Let's see here. Property taxes only $1,500 a year. That's actually really good for a property this size. I mean, usually something around 350, you're going to be paying, my gosh, probably 10,000 a year in property taxes anymore. All right, so check this out. Monthly rent, $3,900 a month coming in, guys. That's $46,800 a year annualized gross receipts. Okay. I generally want this monthly rent to be about 1% minimum of the total purchase price. So in other words, $3,900 a month tells me I can spend $390,000 on this property, assuming it's in good repair, no deferred maintenance, and so forth and so on. So if that's the case, Deborah, so far this thing's looking pretty good. All right. Rents are typical for the area based on her experience as a multi-unit appraisal assignment. She's an appraiser, by the way, guys. All right. So let's just see the rents here. Okay, 3-family dwelling. Apartment 1 is a 3-bedroom for $1,500 a month. Apartment 2 is a 3-bedroom for $1,500 a month, and the third one is a 1-bedroom for $900 a month. So there is your $3,900 a month gross receipts. Let's see. There's a total of 8 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, approximately 3,000 square foot living space, located in Roseville. All right. And this is a fix and hold. Here we go. She just told us perfectly. This is, she needs to do some work on it, but it's a fix, a buy and hold, but essentially with the 80,000 in deferred maintenance, it's a fix and hold. So back to this. This is back to her question. This is where I see we got in a little bit of a quandary here. So guys, when we're talking about ARV and MAO in a 70% margin, I'm sorry, 30% margin. In other words, if you're flipping a home for $1 million and you believe it can sell for $1 million after you remodeled it, that means your cost of the property plus remodeling or rehab can't be more than 700,000, because that'll leave you 200,000 for profit, 100,000 for carrying costs being commissions, transfer taxes, things like that. Okay, that's true on a fix and flip, on a flipped property. Now, if you're buying one to hold, we don't have to have that big profit margin on a resale because we're not selling it. Our profit's going to be in the form of cash flow. So what we do here is we determine that the ARV, what is the actual value of the property, in this case 350,000. We take into account deferred maintenance, in this case 80,000. We subtract that from the 350, which gives us 270,000. Okay, and you leave a little room for cushion, maybe knock off another 5% or something to give you some negotiating room. But the bottom line is, just based on these numbers here, 270 is a lot more than 170, which is the asking price. I don't know about you guys. I think I would take a real close look at this and possibly buy it. Okay, so in any case, I don't know if we have enough numbers here to do the, let's just do one of the calculators here. We got a few minutes, guys. Let me do one of the calculators for Deborah, if you guys don't mind. So let's go to my investment services. Hang on one second. There it is right here. I'm going to log into the silver level. Let's do members area first. Go into silver next. So if you guys are following along, you can do this on your own computers too. We're going to go down to analysis forms and calculators, and we're going to use, we won't do the Excel spreadsheet. We will do the online version tonight, okay? So we're going to scroll down here, and purchase price current value we believe is, we thought that was 350. Let's say we're going to put down 20%, which is 70,000. So mortgage is going to be 280. Let's call it a 5% mortgage, and we're going to assume, let's just keep it 360. All right. I don't think we can change these anyways. Nope, we're going to keep that the same. Right now, whoops, sorry, I went way too fast here. Let's go back up here. All right, monthly rent, we said $3,900 a month. That's pretty darn good. Cap rate so far is 13.37. Well, we haven't added up all our costs yet, so let's see how we do there. So vacancy rate's too high, but it's not going to let us change it. Right now, vacancy guys are between 2 and 3%. Property improvements, here we go. This is where we got to make 80,000. So Deborah, I hope you're watching this, because this is what we're talking about today. 80,000 in property improvements. If we're going to do that, let's now go back up here and make this 270. Okay. Oops. Let me go back here, start from scratch. 270,000. That's what it is. I took the 350 guys that we think the property be worth in a after repair state, fully marketable living condition, because we just figured out we got to put in 80,000 in property improvements. That's why we do that. Let me get rid of this guy real quick here. Okay, so let's look at assumptions. 10% property management. We can keep that. Maintenance 1%, insurance costs 0.5%, move-in move-out cost 2%. That's pretty high, but it's not going to let us change it. In any case, we can see if we were to sell it 5 years later, we'd want to sell it for $328,000, which is well within our ARV of $350. That means we're going to definitely make money on this place, right? Selling cost 6%. That's commissions, things like that. Appreciation rate is going to go up 4% per year. Okay. Value of land. Let's make that 3%. 8,100 for that. So tax basis is 261.9. That's for your that's a purchase price of the property minus the land, because you only pay taxes on the improvement. You don't pay taxes on the land. Okay. All right. Property tax rate. Percentage of value of property. Let's see what the assumptions are. Let's say your tax rate is 25%. We'll keep that the same. Capital gains 15%. We'll keep that the same. Expected inflation rate 2%. Investor hurdle rate. Remember, guys, the hurdle rate is what you would generally expect on other investments. Let's say you're in the stock market. You're averaging 8%. You will put 8% there. Okay. And it's going to show you later on how this property does compared to that. And if you exceed that hurdle rate, anything that allows you to exceed the hurdle rate, bingo, you got yourself a winner. So in any case, back to this, your property tax rate, let's make that 3%, okay, per year. All right. Now let's see how we're doing here. Expected cash flow and return. A return on cash invested. So you put in $54,000 initially, $72,000 year one, and you're still going to get a 21% return on your money invested. Cash return, right? That's not a bad deal. A projected 5-year internal rate of returns 2.3%. Your annual cash flow, you see here, year 2, year 3, year 4, 10, 11, 12,000. The year 5 is including the cash on the sale. All right. So that's why that number is so high. Let's just look at some of the return. Sorry, this thing always does this. Let me go back to the internal rate of return, cash flow, and return on investment details. So purchase investment, initially you put in 54 grand, all right, 20%. Your net cash flow at the end, 56,000, all right, not too shabby. Sale price, this is if you did sell it 5 years later at a 4% appreciation rate, you sell it for 328. Your selling cost, 19,000. Remember, we said 6% of the sale will be selling cost. Taxable gain, 6,000. Your taxes is 20,000 you paid. You're got to pay off the mortgage of 198,000. Remember, you had a mortgage on the property. And your annual cash flow, okay, at the end here is there's your annual returns, by the way. You can see year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5 is a sale, and we went over that. And here's your actual return on investment details. First year, obviously, it's all money going into it. You're not making any money. Every year thereafter, check it out. Essentially, you're making 20 or more percent. 19.7 year 2, 21.5, 23.4, 25.4, for a total return of 104%. This thing's looking pretty good. All right, present value, this is cash flows discounted by your hurdle rate, is minus 21,000. Well, let's just go through this and see what this means to us. Walkaway prices, in other words, you wouldn't sell this thing for less than 248,000 to be able to break even. We don't want to break even, we want to make money. We're going to sell it for 328. That's another close to 80,000. So your selling cost, remember, 6%, so you subtract that. You're left with 308,000 cash proceeds. Your depreciated basis is 302,000. So what that means is we took the 270,000 that we offered for it. We added in 80,000 in improvements. So our cost basis went up right away to about 350. But each year we depreciated. We took depreciation. Well, you have to recapture that depreciation when you sell the property. That money is not free money. You just didn't have to pay taxes on it that year. in the years you took depreciation. When you sell it 5 years later in this example, you've got to add all that back in, recapture the depreciation, and it adjusts with your cost basis, which is what you pay taxes on. The difference between what you paid and what you paid for it, your cost basis plus or minus depreciation. So you got your capital gains tax, you paid $11,000 for that. You recapture depreciation tax, $8,000, right, $12,000 for that, $8,700 for your capital gains. You paid off the note for $198,000, and you put cash in your pocket, $89,000 cash in your pocket. Okay, but remember, you initially put out $54,000 out of your pocket. You got 89 back. All right, so let's look at your annual financial projections. Okay, that's the next table, which is this one right here. So here's your financial projections. This is your rental income. So it goes up by 4% every year. Total 233. Here's your interest on your mortgage, your taxes you paid, your insurance on the property, your tenant turnover costs. Remember, you basically have one tenant turnover per year. So you spend about $10,000 just painting and cleaning and fixing things, right? Annual maintenance, about $2,700. Remember, we figured that. Total of $13,500. Your buying cost was 1%. Remember, we said maintenance was 1% too. Professional management, we figured that was 10%. So you paid $23,000 total for that. Total rental expense, $151,000. So your net income, right, coming in your pocket is $82,000. Depreciation, remember we took that. Your taxable income, when you factor that, when you subtract depreciation from your net income, is your taxable income is $34,000. Okay, the tax to you at 25% is $8,000. You reduce the principal of the loan by $17,000, and if you factor all that in, your net cash flow is $56,000. Okay, so let's look at the ROI in terms of a table. Let's go back here. Here we go. Right. So there we go. Year one, big red one, like minus 117. That's because you put so much money in. Year two, you got 37%. Year three, almost 40%. Year four, over 40%. Year five, 45% ROI, return on initial investment. Not looking too shabby, guys. By the way, this last one, this is your you remember you took a loan. That's what this shows you. This is your beginning balance, 216. You paid it off a little bit each year. Remember, you had to pay off the loan at 198. That's the difference between year one and year five. You paid down about 17,000. Your interest was 10,000 on that over the 5 years. You've reduced the principal by 3792, and your mortgage payments are always 13,920 per year. So, Deborah, I mean, in my opinion, based on the numbers you gave me, looking at these return on investment figures, I think you got yourself a pretty good deal there. We can definitely go into more greater detail on this, but I think this is pretty clear evidence, Deborah. You or your clients got yourself a potential deal here. So, in any case, guys, let me bring the panel back over, clear up any remaining questions. So let's go back here to Nika's saying I'm great, and yourself. Thanks, Nika. I'm doing just fine, thank you. Genevieve, what is MAO? So MAO, Genevieve, is your maximum allowable offer, MAO. So let's say you think the property is worth $350. It takes $80,000 to get it up to marketable condition. Right away, you're down to $270 now, right? It's like paying for deferred maintenance, for example. And you don't want to offer $270. You want to leave a little bit of percentage there for some negotiating room, and you might knock off another 5% for that. 5% off $270 is going to be about $13,500, and you would knock that off with the $270, and that's what will be your beginning, what we call beginning MAO, maximum allowable offer, and leave yourself some negotiating room. So Genevieve, that's just for the rental example. If we're buying a flip, we want to always knock off immediately 30% off of the value, what we believe the ARV is after repair value. Knock off 30% because 20% is going to be profit and 10% will be carrying cost, right? And then from that, you subtract your deferred maintenance, so what you have to do to remodel the property. And you subtract that, and then into that equation, that's what you offer in the property. That's your maximum allowable offer there. So this is in a module 2, I believe, in your material. Great question, by the way. Okay, guys, guess what? That is it. And 8 o'clock, just turned 8 o'clock. Imagine that. We got done on time for a change. So listen, guys, I hope you liked tonight's subject. It's one that a lot of you were demanding or asking for. We managed to squeeze in Deborah's property there at the end, which was great. Next week, we will be meeting also on Monday, the 22nd. So let's see here. The 22nd, I know we got a special guest coming up. I don't think it's the 22nd, though. No, it's not that. So the 29th is Chris Prefontaine. He's from the Massachusetts area. Does a lot of investing. He partners with people all over the U.S. and Canada. So you definitely want to be there on the 29th. Next week. So Genevieve, guess what? I'm doing a special Zoom live for Rock Thomas at 8 o'clock. So next week, guys, I've got the webinar at 7 on Monday and the Rock Thomas live event 8 o'clock. If you're a Rock Thomas fan, you can participate in that. If you're an M1 member, you can participate automatically. But in any case, we will see you then. And I think in November, we're going to have more scattered dates. For some reason, October ended up being Mondays and Tuesdays. Kind of unusual how that worked out. Yeah, Wednesday, Tuesday, then 3 Wednesdays in a row. But in any case, we'll get the November dates out here within another week or so. In the meantime, God bless you guys, you and your families. I appreciate your participation. As always, please let me know via email what you want to discuss on these webinars, because this is your chance, open forum to discuss anything you want. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week and weekend coming up, and we will see you next week. Okay, take care and God bless, guys. Bye-bye.